Hey y'all, today on the farm the drought continues and all my irrigation pivots are on for what I hope will be their final trips around the field. These soybeans are filling the pods out. These plants, this will be the last crop I harvest, row crop this season. It's the furthest out from harvest and it's not terribly far. They have already filled out the pods. Just gotta get them a little bit further and we'll start letting them dry down. They'll start dropping leaves. The dry corners, the non-irrigated corners of this field are already dropping their leaves and drying down, and hopefully this will be the last pass for this pivot on these beans. This irrigation is actually just starting for the first time this year. I just put this system in. This is my carrot beds I just finished planting. I have roughly 30,000, give or take 4, 5, 6,000 carrots planted right here. 260-foot beds times 6 beds, 5 rows per bed. Scarlet Nantes on the first bed, that's an orange, a long slender orange carrot. Then I have a moonrise mix rainbow carrot bed, a sunrise mix rainbow carrot bed. They're slightly different shades, same spectrum of colors, but the moonrise is more vibrant than the sunrise. Purple and yellow carrot bed. And then purple, yellow, orange, and I finished off with another bed of Scarlet Nantes. So these carrots will come off. I predict the first batch maybe around Thanksgiving, and we'll sell these throughout the winter. But in order to get them going, this drip irrigation will run, and I will water nonstop for at least 7 to 10 days. This ground will stay wet. Once carrots are up and established, I will cut it way back. I will just kind of keep the ground moist, but it will stay wet for about a week now. So barring rain, this irrigation cuts off at night, cuts back on in the morning, runs all day, every day. Coincidentally, a lot of viewers have commented on the last couple of shorts I made and last couple of full-length videos. I've been a little sparse on the full-length videos lately, but a lot of new viewers have commented on, hey, you ought to grow stuff not for the global commodity market, or hey, you ought to ship stuff or grow stuff for direct end consumer, or hey, you ought to stop growing non-GMO crops, or hey, you ought to grow food. For those of y'all that are new and aren't familiar with this channel, I grow on average 14 crops. I think this particular year I'm growing about 16 or 17 crops this year, all on commercial scale. But typically I grow around 14, and I market over 15 direct to end consumer products per year, every year. And I also grow non-GMO corn. 100% of the corn on my farm this year is non-GMO. Right here next to the carrots, you see my pecan orchard. I have been wide open out here lately getting the middles mowed down. I will actually get the rows cut tighter today because we are getting close to harvest. When you see a pecan tree, yeah, I say pecan. Some of y'all say pecan, but in the deep south we say pecan. When you see them with these limbs bent way down, hanging over, that means bumper crop. So these nuts are heavy. Look at here. You got a bunch of nuts out here on the end of the limbs. It makes the limbs hang over and touch the ground. When these pecans are not on the limb, these pecans ain't here, these limbs are standing up. But they got a good crop on them this year, so the limbs are all sagged over. I'm looking forward to a good pecan or pecan harvest coming up real soon. This particular variety comes off a little late for me. I think we'll be harvesting these nuts in November. My peanuts are ready for harvest. I was going to start yesterday, Monday, but we got a little bit of a weather situation. We've been in a drought, and there is 2 significant corners of this field that are red clay and non-irrigated. And I have a projected rainfall, a 90% chance. Probably ain't gonna rain now that I said it, but it's 90% chance of rain on Thursday this week. Those dry corners were going to be very, very difficult for me to dig, for me to invert without that rain. So we're waiting on that rain so we can get those dry corners out of the ground. Also, the irrigated peanuts, which would be much easier to dig right now than the dry corners. If I dug these irrigated peanuts and let them sit on top of the ground and dry down, which is, for those y'all don't know, the peanuts have to dry on top of the ground inverted upside down for 4 to 5 days. If I dug them on Monday and they would get just about ready to pick, and then that rain come in here on Thursday and rained on them, that would make them stick back to the ground. We had to reshake them, and when you reshake them to get them unstuck from the ground, you lose peanuts. Peanuts fall off, and so you don't want to dig a bunch of nuts up, flip them over, and then have it rain on them. So we're waiting on Thursday, see what that rain is going to do. If rain comes in here, we will immediately start digging after the rain, as soon as it's dry enough to dig. If any day between now and Thursday the rain chance decreases down to not likely, I will immediately start to dig at that point. My grain sorghum is getting really, really close to being ready. I predict running moisture now, but going off of the moisture test we've done in the last few days, week, I'm predicting it's going to be ready about the same time as peanuts. We're going to have the harvest running simultaneous, which will be an awesome and magnificent feat if we can accomplish that. So what I got here is I've collected some grain. I'm gonna put in this moisture meter. Run a quick test to see what the moisture level is. I'm wanting it below 14% before I harvest it and put it in my grain bin. Ooh, 13.5. So we're actually, and this morning time, it should be higher moisture right now than it will be midday when we're harvesting. So I reckon we can go on this. We're good to go here. So maybe I'll get this sorghum harvested before we jump out there with the peanuts. Most people don't realize how much farming is actual logistics orchestration. How much time and effort and energy goes into trying to time all these things so they don't happen at the same time. And when they do happen at the same time, orchestrate all the various wheels that have to keep turning and parts that have to keep moving. The majority of running a farming operation is logistics management. I also grow pumpkins on the farm. I'm hosting a giant pumpkin competition November the 1st right here on my farm. I've advertised it a fair amount here on social media. I don't know if y'all have seen the videos, but if you're planning on coming, November the 1st right here at my farm store, 1300 West Bluffton Road, Fort Gaines, Georgia, $100. I'm giving out $100 to the person that brings the heaviest pumpkin right here. I'm not gonna win the prize myself. I'm not going to hand myself $100 for growing the heaviest pumpkin. I will give the $100 to the person that shows up here with the heaviest pumpkin. We're going to compete against my pumpkins. We'll weigh to see if I outweigh them, but I'm not handing myself a prize. That'd be silly. So, if you weren't already aware, giant pumpkin competition right here, 1300 West Bluffton Road, Fort Gaines, Georgia, November the 1st. I grow these giant pumpkins. I also grow ornamental pumpkins, jack-o'-lanterns. I grow several types of pumpkins, and that is far and away exponentially harder than anything I do on the farm. All the crops I grow, all the processes I do. Pumpkins is 20 times harder than everything else combined. Growing pumpkins in South Georgia, specifically in the South, hyper difficult. From what I understand, it's not hard or as hard to grow them kind of in the Ohio area, up in that part of the country, but in the South with our high humidity, and we will have extreme drought coupled with high humidity, which sounds like a oxymoron, but it's a real thing. It's not unusual to have 90+% humidity and no rain for 2 months. So that causes disease in pumpkins, and they need water very frequently, and they don't want high humidity in the air. So pumpkins in the South endure a lot of disease problems. Very difficult to grow these down here. Had to put on my straw hat. Gonna be out here working in the middle of the field in the sunshine. Got everything going this morning. Checked on all my irrigation pivots. They were all walking. Got my drip running. Started mowing around the peanuts so they will be ready for the digging, the lifting process, getting the weeds mowed around the edge of the field. When I got a phone call that this pivot here in the soybeans was not walking, that means something's wrong. They'll stop walking sometimes when something goes wrong. And what has happened is a tire has come apart and the system bogged down and quit walking. When it quits walking, the end gun cuts off. So someone rode by and saw the end gun not squirting. And so that's a safety feature for it to stop walking instead of breaking itself in half. Sometimes they will break themselves in half rather than stop walking. This one, however, the safety feature that tells it to cut the water off didn't cut the water off. And so it sat here in one spot and watered for a while. And now we gotta change the tire in the mud. Well, the recap didn't come off. The whole tire come off and wrapped like a horseshoe around the frame. I ain't never seen nothing like that before. That's the first time I've ever seen this particular thing occur. Thankfully, I gotta go load some corn for a deer hunter, so cool down a minute. Well, we got another one. I made a video earlier this year. I don't think I ever released it. I make more videos than I release. It just works out that way sometimes. Sometimes I'm filming 2 or 3 videos simultaneously, and 1 or 2 of them don't get released for whatever reason. But I made a video earlier this year, and I don't think it released, about the hidden cost of farming. There is a flat tire on this farm, and I have a small farm. There's a flat tire on this farm 365 days a year. Every year, somewhere on this farm there's a flat tire. I don't change a tire every day, but if you went to every irrigation system, every tractor, every implement, every day, somewhere one of them has a flat tire. Irrigations are the primary culprit. The reason I remember making this video earlier this year, because on that day I changed 8 irrigation tires in one day. 8 of them in one day. This is not the same day as you just saw me working on the previous tire. This is the day after. This is 2 days later. This is Thursday, that was Tuesday. Here we are again, changing tires. Obviously, I'm not gonna be able to pick that big 24-inch rim with a flat tire up above my waist. So we're gonna park this truck down in the ditch and roll the tire onto it. The tire store did not have a new tire the size I needed. I had to order my tire, so this is an unusual event. The tire store let me borrow a used tire until they could get my new tire in, because this system, we got a rainstorm coming later today. It's supposed to rain over an inch, supposedly. You know, if you believe weather app. It's gonna rain over an inch. This pivot has to be facing that way. It can't be across these roads when that rain falls. I gotta walk it over there, get out of the way before the rain falls, and the only way to do that is to have a tire on here. So I'm temporarily putting a used tire on the system, walking over there and taking the used tire off. This is where we're at. One thing I have to do whenever we got a rain coming, I take down all the augers, clean out the pits. We don't want rotten corn up here. As you've seen in previous videos, rotten corn is a thing that happens up here from time to time, and it does not smell good. So I've already put the Ford, y'all see me remodel the Ford. I've already put the Ford up. I washed it because it had dust from this. Washed it, put it under the barn, and I'm gonna turn this auger around, stick it in that hole so the wind don't blow it over. The wind will blow these things over. Super easy. And then the corn that was in the pit here, I'm gonna go, I don't know, maybe give it to some local deer hunters or something. I don't know, a lot of deer hunters. I have so far this year, I have not sold one kernel of corn to the greedy corporations that are putting American farmers out of business. I have sold 100% of my corn so far to deer hunters. 100% of it. Now, I'm not sold out. I still got a lot of corn over yonder, y'all. So if you're a deer hunter and you're within driving range of here, $6 a bushel. $6 per 56 pounds right here. I load it on trailer. Don't come up here with some bags. I can't put it in bags. It's coming out the end of that 10-inch auger, wide doggone open. You come out here with a trailer, I load you up. I load trailers here 3, 4, 5 days a week. Come on, baby. The next video y'all see from me will be me turning over peanuts, inverting peanuts. And then from there on, a lot of harvesting videos. So by early November, you guys are gonna be so tired of seeing peanuts, y'all gonna wonder if I know about anything other than peanuts. We're about to dig into it, y'all. I hope y'all stay along for the ride, learn a lot about the South Georgia peanut harvest, what all goes into it. This is what our year revolves around. What we do all year comes down to what's about to happen in the next 2 to 3 weeks. We're about to get dirty, y'all. I hope to see you next time.